Draymond Green and Grizzlies guard Dillon Brooks has reached new levels. In an interview with our Tim Kewen last Friday, Brooks said he doesn't like Golden State or Green and added that the Warriors forward talks a lot. Yesterday, Draymond responded on the latest edition of the Draymond Green podcast. Take a listen.
If you ever wondered why the Memphis Grizzlies is not ready to compete for a championship, look no further than this idiot right here. They're actually depending on this guy to help them win a championship. And he says his game is cool. Quite frankly, that just shows how little you know about basketball. And yet, you running around talking about a dynasty? The dynasty starts after you, not with you. I'm trying to figure out why they like you in Memphis. Or do they like you in Memphis? That's a better question. I'm not sure your teammates like you, but I can tell you why they like me over there. When you contribute in the way that I have contributed to 4 championships, they tend to like you.
Okay. Strong words from Draymond and a lot going on for the Grizzlies. Monica, I want to come with you because I'm seeing that facial expression. You can react to the sound, but the question I wanted to know, is this a wasted title opportunity for Memphis? But feel free to react to the sound first.
I mean, listen, this is a results-driven industry. Say what you will about Draymond Green. The Warriors have the results. He has the results at his position individually in terms of the respect of the league. I also, in that same breath, say what you got to say if you're Dillon Brooks. And so both of these men are entitled to their feedback or their opinions of one another. And okay, now, all right, that's where we are. Now, as far as the title hopes for this year, this is a little bit odd for me, Molly and Stephen A., because I think what has happened with Ja Morant has kind of captured my heart in a way where it's tough for me to just kind of get back to the basketball of it all, because I want this young man to kind of get himself squared away so that he can go on and have the successful career that we all envision. We continue to mention the endorsements and obviously what he does on the floor. I don't know that it'll be wasted. I do understand that we can't continue to say this group is young. They're going to have to deal with some contracts in terms of retaining their core and really achieving their ultimate goals. But I think that this, in the grand scheme of things, if you will allow me not to focus on just basketball and trying to win this year, in the grand scheme of things, this year could really be an opportunity to get right in terms of focus, in terms of understanding what it means to be an elite professional that is not distracted by any of the outside things. I don't have an issue with the Memphis Grizzlies talking. I just understand, and I'm sure that the Memphis Grizzlies understand, that at some point you have to absolutely back up all that chatter, and they have not yet been able to do that. I like the tenacity that this group plays with on the defensive end. I like the swag that they bring, but it has to ultimately lead to W's in the win column. And so we've not yet gotten there at an extensive or consistent level in the postseason. And so I'm sure there's probably some more comments to come out of this. I don't know if this becomes locker room material as far as the Grizzlies are concerned. I think Taylor Jenkins is a tremendous coach.
The question, Eminem, is, are they wasting a title opportunity? And that answer is flagrantly yes. Now, does that mean they can't correct it? Sure. Mm-hmm. But in the moment, when you see the kind of nonsense that has transpired with this team, you damn right they're wasting it. And they're wasting it because they are thinking too big of themselves. Now, let me say this. Dillon Brooks, I'm actually a fan. He's not having the greatest season. He's slipped shooting percentage, three-point shooting percentage, points per game. He has a defensive prowess. He hasn't been what we grew accustomed to seeing Dillon Brooks be. Fair enough. I'm certainly not going to do what Draymond Green did and call him an idiot. But I will say his words were incredibly idiotic. And that's what Dillon Brooks is. We're not talking about you and character assassinating you, Dillon. We're saying what you said was just stupid. Now let's dissect why that is. You're talking about a 4-time champion. And as an NBA player who has Ja Morant to defer to, along with Desmond Bane, along with Jaren Jackson and others, you do understand, Dillon Brooks, it takes a team in order to win. you do understand that there are components that differ from actually scoring that contributes to it. How would you know that, Dillon Brooks? Because you have contributed to helping the Memphis Grizzlies win games over the last few years. And it wasn't always based on your points. It was based on your defensive tenacity. It was based on your vocal leadership. It was based on the fact that you knew how to assist in galvanizing the troops for the most part to win, at least during the regular season and at least a couple of playoff series. Well, what you've done, Draymond Green has done exponentially more, exponentially better, because talk to Steph Curry, talk to Klay Thompson, talk to everybody that's been a member of his teammates, talk to ownership Joe Lacob, talk to Coach Steve Kerr, talk to GM Bob Myers, and they'll talk to you about the savant that Draymond Green is when it comes to thinking the game of basketball, anticipating and knowing what the opposition wants to do, what they're trying to do, how to thwart that, et cetera, et cetera. Everything isn't equatable to points. And Dillon Brooks knows that. So to talk about Draymond Green and how, all right, he's ideal and cool in that system, but if he was any place else, well, what would you be if you weren't in Memphis? And by the way, if we're going to sit up there and look at Draymond Green, don't talk to me about what he'd be anywhere else. Talk to me about how a champion multiple times over, meaning the Golden State Warriors organization, still felt it necessary as a priority to keep him because they understand what it takes to glue a team together and win collectively. They understand what goes into that. You know nothing about that yet, Dillon Brooks, because you never won. And so to me, when you're chirping like that, you've got to have receipts to back it up. You have no championship. You don't even have a championship appearance yet. And oh, by the way, on at least a couple of occasions that the Golden State Warriors were en route to a championship, they went through you to do it. So you're not really in a position to say those kind of things. And Dillon Brooks is too knowledgeable about the game of basketball to try to diminish somebody like Draymond like that. Draymond has every right to say what he said, doing a great job with his podcast, by the way. Congrats to him. The bottom line is at the end of the day, you know, that's what this really comes down to. Now, to get to Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, understand, think about this too, Dillon Brooks. You opened your mouth and brought attention to the bravado that the Memphis Grizzlies collectively feel, which Eminem and I both applaud. The problem is, look at what trouble Ja Morant has gotten himself in. And then look at the clips that have been disseminated out there. It shows a bravado. It shows something that's a bit loose. It shows something that it really isn't thinking about following conventional behavior to make sure that you're doing all the things necessary. We're all rooting for Ja Morant. Ain't nobody casting aspersions on him. Ain't nobody insulting him or anything like that. He's owned up to his mistakes. He clearly has some issues. Taylor Jenkins has alluded to that. The Memphis Grizzlies organization has alluded to that. We wish him nothing but the best. The basketball is better for Ja Morant. We are all rooting for him. But the point is, when Dillon Brooks goes out and says something like that, and it provides an indication of what the attitude inside that locker room is like, then we stop wondering what assists the kind of attitude that ultimately leads to the kind of actions we've been lamenting about the superstar for that team over the last few days. And when we see guys acting like that, we say, where's the maturity? Where's the adult in the room? Those kind of questions start getting asked. So, Dillon, not only were you foolish in going after Draymond the way that you did, you were foolish because you didn't take into account the level of attention that was going to be transferred to your organization, your locker room, and ultimately your superstar who didn't need that kind of attention right now. Be quiet and ball, because we are used to y'all talking. What we haven't seen enough from Memphis this year is enough balling.
Well, mic drop. Listen, y'all know that as I got to the company, part of it was because of going viral for picking Memphis. And I love that group. I think that they still got something special there. But to your point, Stephen A., the proof is in the pudding. It is a results-driven industry, Molly. And I do think, again, a lot of growth, a lot of growing up for this squad this year. I hope that it works out for them in the big picture.
Guys, a little more news regarding the Grizzlies. Steven Adams is set to be out another 4 weeks after getting a stem cell injection into his right knee. He has a PCL sprain. So at least another 4 weeks.
That
Yeah,
hurts,
I mean, that's
and
a
of course
big loss.
Brandon Clark as well. So
That's right. Those are big losses for them. And when you know you don't have those dudes, that's even more of a reason to be quiet.
Yeah.
Because you
All right,
don't have
Monica-
Steven Adams and
Yep.
Brandon Clark. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.